The cemetery had grown quiet after the shocking interruption, but whispers still lingered in the air like restless ghosts. People couldn't stop staring at the homeless man who had dared to stand before the billionaire's coffin. His trembling voice, his desperate eyes, and his final words, "She's not dead," kept echoing in the minds of everyone present. The billionaire's family was furious, but a strange uncertainty clouded their grief. Was it possible, even the smallest chance, that he was telling the truth? Security tried to drag him away, but the man clung to the edge of the coffin, his rough hands shaking as though clinging not to wood, but to truth itself. "Listen to me," he shouted. "You're burying a woman who still breathes. Don't make this mistake." The priest faltered, unsure of whether to continue the funeral rites. A wave of murmurs spread through the mourners. Some dismissed him as a lunatic, while others began to question why his words sounded so raw, so certain. Among the crowd, a young woman whispered nervously, "What if he's right?" Another man shook his head, saying, "Impossible." The doctors confirmed it, yet doubt had already been planted. The billionaire's only son, who had remained silent until then, suddenly stepped forward. His eyes, red with grief, studied the homeless man carefully. Something about the man's voice, his urgency, reminded him of nights long ago when his mother would whisper secrets about the fragility of life, about how appearances could deceive. "Wait," the son said firmly. "Let's hear him out." Gasps erupted from the mourners. The family elders objected immediately, declaring the homeless man insane. But the son raised his hand, silencing them. He had seen too many powerful men make mistakes, too many lives destroyed by arrogance. He couldn't risk burying his mother alive. With a voice heavy with authority, he commanded, "Open the coffin." The guards hesitated. The eldest uncle shouted angrily, "This is madness. He is humiliating us all." But the son's order carried weight, and soon the lid of the coffin creaked open under trembling hands. Everyone leaned closer, holding their breath. The air thickened with tension, and there she was, the billionaire's wife, her face pale but peaceful, lying as though in the deepest of sleeps. For a moment it looked exactly as they had been told, a lifeless body untouched by breath. But then, in the charged silence of that moment, someone noticed it, an almost invisible flutter at her lips, a breath, faint, fragile, but undeniably real. Cries of shock burst from the crowd. The priest staggered backward, dropping his book. Some of the mourners screamed, others fell to their knees in disbelief. The billionaire's son gripped the edge of the coffin, his eyes flooding with tears. "Mother," he whispered, his voice breaking. The homeless man collapsed onto the ground, weeping, his words vindicated. "I told you," he cried. "I told you she wasn't gone." His entire body shook with relief, yet sorrow as well, for why had no one believed him sooner? Chaos erupted. Some called for doctors, others accused the family of negligence, even conspiracy. How could a woman still alive be declared dead by the finest physicians? How could the family, in their rush for inheritance and power, fail to see what this ragged stranger had seen with his own eyes? An ambulance was rushed in, and the billionaire's wife was carried away, a faint pulse giving hope to the stunned mourners. The homeless man tried to follow, but the guards blocked his way. He looked into the eyes of the billionaire's son. "Please," he begged, "don't shut me out. You don't know the whole truth. There's more, so much more." The son hesitated. Something inside him told him this man wasn't just a lucky guesser or a lunatic who stumbled into their grief. There was history here, a secret buried deeper than any coffin. But before he could speak, his uncles surrounded him, whispering urgently in his ear, They insisted that this was all a plot, a scheme to manipulate the family during their darkest hour. They demanded the homeless man be taken away immediately. As the ambulance siren faded into the distance, the homeless man was dragged back to the cemetery gate. He shouted one last warning over his shoulder, his voice echoing across the gravestones. If you bury the truth, it will come back to haunt you. I know what they're hiding, and I can prove it. The mourners were shaken. The billionaire's son stood frozen between loyalty to his family and the desperate plea of a stranger who had just saved his mother's life. Could this man be trusted, or was he about to plunge them all into a deeper nightmare? The crowd began to disperse, but whispers followed the son everywhere about doctors being bribed, about family members eager for inheritance, about truths hidden in shadows. His heart pounded as he realized this was no longer just about his mother's survival. It was about power, lies, and betrayal lurking in every corner of his family. And in that moment, he knew the homeless man had not come to save one life. He had come to uncover something far greater, something that could destroy them all.